हाय दोस्तों, कैसे हो आप। तो आज की इस वीडियो में हम कंटिन्यू करने जा रहे हैं हैरी पॉटर एंड द फिलोसोफर्स स्टोन की ऑडियो बुक। तो इसको शुरू करते हैं। और जैसा कि आपको पता होगा, मैं क्वेश्चन लास्ट में पूछूंगा। दोस्तों, किसी ने आंसर ही नहीं दिया क्वेश्चन का, क्योंकि हमारे व्यूज़ अभी बहुत कम हैं और मैं वेट करूँगा जब तक आंसर आता है। अगर अगली वीडियो तक ना आया तो मैं उसका आंसर खुद ही बता दूँगा। तो मतलब मैं एक वीडियो का टाइम दूँगा। ओके, तो अब चलिए शुरू करते हैं। तो हमने 15 के एंड तक पढ़ लिया था। यहाँ बोरोड इट फ्रॉम बोरोड इट, तो ऐसे करके पढ़ लिया था हमने। ठीक है, तो अब यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं। नो सर, house is almost destroyed, but I got him out all right before the Mughals started swarming around. He fell asleep as we were flying over Bristol. Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall bent forward to the bundle of blankets. Inside, just visible, was a baby boy, fast asleep. Under a tuft of jet black hair over his forehead, they could see a curiously shaped cut like a bolt of lightning. "Is that where?" whispered Professor McGonagall. "Yes," said Professor Dumbledore. "He will have the scar forever." Couldn't you do something about it, Dumbledore? "Even if I could, I won't. Scars can come in useful. I have one myself above my knee, which is a perfect map of London Underground. Give him here, Hagrid. We would better get this over with." Dumbledore took Harry in his arms and turned towards the Dursleys' house. Could I say goodbye to him, sir?" asked Hagrid. He bent his great shaggy head over Harry and gave him what must have been a very scratchy, whispery kiss. Then suddenly Hagrid let out a howl like a wounded dog. "Shh!" hissed Professor McGonagall. "You will wake the Muggles." "Sorry," sobbed Hagrid, taking out a large spotted handkerchief and burying his face in it. "But I can't stand it. Lily and James dead, and poor little Harry off to live with Muggles." Yes, it's all very sad, but get a grip on yourself, Hagrid, or we will be found," Professor McGonagall whispered, panting. Hagrid gingerly on the arms as Dumbledore stepped over the low garden wall and walked to the front door. He laid Harry gently on the doorstep, took a letter out of his cloak, tucked it inside Harry's blankets, and then came back to the other two. For a full minute, the three of them stood and looked at the little bundle. Hagrid's shoulder shook. Professor McGonagall blinked furiously as the twinkling light that usually shone from Dumbledore's eyes seemed to have gone out. "Well," said Dumbledore finally, "that's that. We have no business staying here. We may as well go and join the celebrations." "Yes," said Hagrid in a very muffled voice. "I would best get this bike away." "Good night, Professor McGonagall." "Professor Dumbledore, sir," wiping his streaming eyes on his jacket sleeve. Hagrid swung himself on the motorbike and kicked the engine into life. With a roar, it rose into the air and off into the night. "I shall see you soon, I expect, Professor McGonagall," said Dumbledore, nodding to her. Professor McGonagall blew her nose in reply. Dumbledore turned and walked back down the street. On the corner, he stopped and took out a silver put-outer. He clicked it once, and 12 balls of light sped back to their street lamps so that Privet Drive glowed suddenly orange, and he could make out a tabby cat slinking around the corner at the other end of the street. He could just see the bundle of blankets on the step of number 4. Good luck, Harry, he murmured. He turned to his heel with a swish of his cloak. He was gone. A breeze ruffled the neat edges of Privet Drive, which lay silent and tiny under the inky sky, the very last place you would expect astonishing things to happen. Harry Potter rolled over inside his blanket without waking up. One small hand closed on the letter beside him, and he slept on, not knowing he was special, not knowing he was famous, not knowing he would be woken in a few hours' time by Mrs. Dursley's scream as she opened the front door to put out the milk bottles, nor that he would spend the next few weeks being popped and pinched by his cousin Dudley. He couldn't know that at his very moment, people meeting in secret all over the country were holding up their glasses and saying in hushed voice to Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Now I will start chapter 2, The Vanishing Glass. Let's start. Nearly 10 years had passed since the Dursleys had woken up to find their nephew on the front step, but Privet Drive had hardly changed at all. The sun rose on the same tidy front gardens and lit up the brass number 4 on the Dursleys' front door. It crept into their living room, which was almost exactly the same as it had been on the night when Mr. Dursley had seen that fateful news report about owls. Only photographs on the mantelpiece really showed how much time had passed. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink peach ball wearing different colored bobble hats. But Dudley Dursley was no longer a baby, and now the photographs showed a large blonde boy riding his first bicycle on a roundup at the fair, playing a computer game with his father, being hugged and kissed by his mother. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. Yet Harry Potter was still there, asleep at the moment, but not for long. His aunt Petunia was awake, and it was her shrill voice which made the first noise of the day. Up, get up now! Harry woke with a start. His aunt rapped on the door again. Up, she screeched. Harry heard her walking towards the kitchen, and then the sound of the frying pan being put on the cooker. He rolled on his back and tried to remember the dream he had been having. It had been a good one. There had been a flying motorbike in it. He had funny feeling he had the same dream before. His aunt was back outside the door. Are you up yet? She demanded. Nearly, said Harry. Well, get a move on. I want you to look after the bacon. And don't you dare let it burn. I want everything perfect on Dudley's birthday. Harry groaned. What did you say? His aunt snapped through the door. Nothing. Dudley's birthday. How could he have forgotten? Harry got slowly out of the bed and started looking for socks. He found a pair under his bed, and after pulling a spider off one of them, he put them on. Harry was used to spiders because the cupboard under the stairs was full of them, and that was where he slept. When he was dressed, he went down the hall into the kitchen. The table was almost hidden beneath all Dudley's birthday presents. It looked as though Dudley had got the new computer he wanted, not to mention the second television and the racing bike. Exactly why Dudley wanted a racing bike was a mystery to Harry, as Dudley was very fat and hated exercise, unless of course it involved punching somebody. Dudley's favorite punching bag was Harry, but he couldn't often catch him. Harry didn't look it, but he was very fast. तो दोस्तों, आज की वीडियो को मैं यहीं एंड करता हूँ. होप आपको आज की ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो. तो आगे हम और पढ़ेंगे. तो आज का क्वेश्चन है, एक ही है आज के लिए, वो है कि हैरी कहाँ सोता था. ठीक है, तो आपको इसका आंसर कमेंट बॉक्स में लिख देना है. हाँ, थोड़ी सी देर के लिए शायद कमेंट बॉक्स ऑफ भी रहे, पर मैं उसको जितनी जल्दी हो सका ऑन करने की कोशिश भी कर दूंगा. ठीक है, तो जैसे पिछली वीडियो में था, अगली वीडियो तक प्लीज़ आंसर दे देना, नहीं तो अगली वीडियो में आप दोनों का आंसर दे देना. और पिछले वाली वीडियो का क्वेश्चन मैं एक बार फिर से रिपीट कर देता हूँ. उसका क्वेश्चन था कि हैग्रिड किस व्हीकल पर आया था और व्हीकल उसको किसने दिया था. ठीक है, तो ये 2 क्वेश्चंस हैं. तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय.